to another OHIO podcast. It's a live Cullen show tonight, Chris, here from the beautiful Boggs recording studio office and the Palacious Wilds recording living room. Is that where we're at? I don't know. Office? I haven't seen your recording room yet, Chris.
We're working on it, Eric. I'm going to have it back here now that the cookie season is over.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. Hey, speaking of projects and working on it, little cryptic commercial there at the beginning. Did you catch that?
I definitely caught it in my headset. It was rather loud.
Sorry. Speaking of volume, how do we sound tonight? So I've turned my volume down. Chris has turned his
I've turned it
volume
up.
up. So hopefully, if one of you can let us know in the chat tonight if we sound good or if one of us needs to adjust our volume. I re-listened to the show Sunday night and I was disappointed in the range of volume between the three of us. We're trying to work this thing out. Here's what I've discovered, Chris. Every time you go to a different recording platform, like
Mhm.
StreamYard on someone else's show or whatever, it messes with your volume
Yes.
on your platform. And if you're not careful and you go in and you check those things and adjust them, the next time you record, it's fluctuated bad. So someone who's listening, let us know right now how we sound. Does our volume sound good? Do I need to go up because I turned mine down? Does Chris need to come down because he turned his up or whatever? You let us know. Phone lines are open 567-483-1999. Party like it's 1999 on a Thursday night, Chris. Here's the
Yes.
deal. We've been doing this on Fridays, and you said, hey, let's try Thursday night, see how it goes, because we know as the weather warms up here in Ohio, Friday nights is probably not the best night to be doing this.
No, no, absolutely not. You've got a campfire to set by. I've got some campfires to set by and
Yes, I
some
do
adult
hope you have a good
beverages to
time, though.
consume. And,
Yes. Good. Thank you, Hummus Hero, for telling us that. He said our volume levels are relatively similar. That's what we
that's a
want.
good thing.
That's what we want. Um, okay, he said Chris is maybe a tick louder. Let me adjust mine up slightly because I can do that with just a swing of the button there. So maybe like that. Is that a little better, Hummus? Do I sound a little clearer up there with Chris's? Let me know. Yes, Brian, Collins show tonight. That is correct, my friend. Again, typically do this on Friday. We're going to try Thursday night. We're going to have to pick a night that's not on the weekends, or we're going to have to move this to Sunday nights and move Sunday night show to a different night on the week. That is an option as well. And I would love everybody's feedback. Would you like to see the Collins show on Thursday night or like a Tuesday night? Or would you like to see the Collins show move to Sunday night and we move Sunday night's style of show to a different night? I'm open to both. Chris, I think he's pretty flexible on either. So,
Yeah, I'm pretty flexible for a guy my size.
yes, gotcha. Okay, thank you, Hummus. All right, so let's get into tonight's show. Again, the call in line is open. 74. That about gave you my number. Don't want to do that. Yeah, then you all be calling me. The call in number is, as it comes down on the ticker, 567-483-1999. 567-483-1999. That is the call in number. We'd love to talk to you. Larry's Dade City, Florida. He was in a different city.
Is Larry ever in the same place twice?
He must have an RV or something like that. By the way,
Yeah.
that's a great show
Yeah.
on Billy Bob's Backyard Barbecue. Go check out the interviews he does with Larry from his RV. They're fantastic. Um, Brian Lee Oberst, obviously following me on Facebook. Happy anniversary to you and Sarah. Yeah, so today, 9 years ago today, my wife and I got our anniversary or our engagement pictures. I is what they call them. Engagement pictures done. So our anniversary is actually July 4th. That's when we got married, so I wouldn't forget. And my birthday is July 5th, so I just got it all done in one weekend. You
Do you
know.
ever feel cheated, Eric? Like, you don't get enough. Like Sarah didn't get you a good enough gift because you got your birthday and your anniversary the same day. or
Um,
right next to each other, kind of like
yes,
the kids
yes.
the
Um,
kids who have it at Christmas.
Sarah is but the greatest gift is herself. Is
See,
that
I
how I
use
should?
that one with Bobby all the time, and she
Yeah.
doesn't believe it either.
Oh no. All right. So here we go, guys. I want to talk about this. Larry Johnson met with the media Tuesday, and um, Larry's a little long in the tooth. Is that fair to say, Chris? I think he's
I
71
would
or
agree with that.
71, 72 years old,
He's
somewhere
got a
around
little
there.
experience under his belt.
For the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years or so, Chris, all we have heard every offseason is the negative recruiting stories that people are coming out and saying that Larry is, you shouldn't go to Ohio State if you're a defensive lineman because you never know when Larry's going to retire, right? The big school that used that a lot against us was Alabama,
Right.
particularly Nick Saban. And who was it that decided to hit the old retirement first?
That's right.
It was Nick
Nick
Saban.
Satan himself.
Not LJ, who we call the living legend around here. So, Larry's asked this question about, hey, you get presented this every offseason about whether you're going to retire or not, and he's talking about Edric Houston and how Edric Houston was like, look, if you're not going to be there, Larry, I'm not coming to Ohio State. And Larry's like, hey, listen, all I can do is be completely truthful and honest with these guys and tell them the truth about where I'm at. And he says, if you come here, Edric, I can promise you I'm going to be there. I'm going to be here if you come. Okay. Now, did he promise him multiple years? I've heard people saying, well, he promised him he was going to be here. So that means Larry's going to be here at least for 3 more seasons. No, that's not. He said, I would be here if you come, meaning I'll be here this season. That's how I interpret it.
Yeah.
I think Larry's on a year to year basis at this point. And what I find very interesting is Larry's son is on staff now.
Yes.
I don't think he's
Perhaps a Larry in training.
perhaps. I mean, I have that has crossed my mind. Also, what's interesting about this, Chris, is I think with his son there now, it's almost rejuvenated him.
Yeah, I can see
He
that.
seemed like a very excited and spry 71-year-old man Tuesday.
Well, and I'll tell you, when I watched that press conference, you can. I don't know if it was intended, Eric. We talked about this before but before the show, but I'll tell you, I think there was a little bit of a backhanded shot at maybe like a Tony Alford with his comment.
Yeah, I'm leading up to that, Chris. I
Yeah.
was leaning up to that. Um, Hummus wants to know about Tony Johnson, Larry's son. What position was he? He says, was he a running back? I assumed he was a linebacker for some reason, Chris. But am
We'll
I?
find that out.
Yeah, let me look.
I'll tell you what. You've got the notes there. You're in charge of the soundboard. Why don't you keep going and I'll look?
Okay, cool. Go Tony Johnson. See what he was. What position he played when he was in college, high school and college. Um. Okay, Dylan, you gotta be kidding me. I walk into my apartment and my dog is watching this show. Well, first off, does that mean your dog is a Buckeye fan? Is that what that means there, Dylan? It also could mean this: your dog really wants to call in. Like I would gladly receive that phone call. Just saying. Um, no, so Larry's fielding these fielding these questions, right? And he's talking about the negative recruiting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then he drops this beautiful gem on our lap.
I love it.
Here is the exact quote. I wrote it down. I put it in a story. If you want to go over to theohiopodcast.com, the story up at the top is Tony Alford could have learned a lesson from Larry Johnson. That is the title of my article I wrote. This is the exact quote from Larry Johnson. When I make the decision, of what I want to do, I'll tell them, I'm not going to recruit a guy, bring him here, and then take off. That's not in my DNA or my character. He goes on to say, Chris, it's about believing in principle and about who you are as a coach. Then I think this, if there was a shot towards Tony, this is it. I'm not chasing money. I'm not chasing anything. I'm chasing greatness with my players and a hope that they have a chance to be really special. And that's what's important to me.
Boom, mic drop. That is why he is a GOAT right there. He just
Yes.
dropped that bomb. He did not come out and call Tony Alford out by name, but Eric, you know who that shot was directed at.
It
Because I
surely
believe
felt
this
like it.
whole, I know this whole coach feels alienated by what Tony Alford did. And I'm telling you right now, they'll keep it professional because that's what our coaches do. But that was a shot directly at Tony Alford, no doubt about it in my mind. And by the way, his son was a wide receiver.
Really? Okay. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
Wide receiver at Penn State.
That doesn't mean he can't coach defensive lines. I mean, his dad's
That's
a
right.
living legend, and as Larry said, it's not in his DNA or his character to do what Tony Alford did. And
Yep.
so I would say the apple might not
That's some pretty
fall
good
far
DNA
from the
right
tree.
there, Eric.
I mean, I'll take it. I'll take that DNA, man. So you look at this, and I'm trying to change over to the. I got my TV on up here, so I'm going to turn on the NCAA games here so I can watch them off the corner of my eye here. Anyways, you watch what you have going on here is you have a coach who has been at Ohio State. This will be his 11th season, Chris. I think I looked it up this morning. He was at Penn State for 17 years.
Correct.
So he's got more time in at Penn State, but 11 years at Ohio State. He's the longest tenured position coach at Ohio State and one of the longest tenured coaches in the Big Ten.
And you know what that tells me is he's a guy who, and he said it, his personal ambition is not going to override team goals because you got to believe somebody who has produced the amount of superstars that Larry
Larry,
Johnson, that Larry Johnson has created. You go all the way back to Courtney Brown at Penn State. You look at the Bosa's, the Chase Youngs that he's helped develop, all the stars that he has put into the NFL. If he had the ambition and was just driven by self promotion, that man would be a head coach somewhere right now.
yeah, I agree.
He is dedicated, and by the way, he is 1-0 as a head coach. Let's not forget that. Uh,
This is
but
true.
uh,
Yeah, again,
but
Michigan State
at
at
Michigan
East
State,
Lansing on the road. Yep, you got it.
and the best game that defensive line had ever played. I'm just going to put it out there.
All season long. Yep.
Yep. But for me, I just feel like he is such a class act and a man who is. I think he's content at being the best to ever coach defensive linemen in college football.
I agree.
It's what he thrives on.
I
And
agree.
I
I
think
agree.
you're right. I think the energy's back with him.
It sure felt that way. Dylan, I see you. We're going to come to you in just a second. But Larry, my goodness, thank you so much for the 4.99. I one of the reasons why I appreciate it, it costs us $26 to do this show when you take into account the call-in studio that we use for this, the cell phone that I'm running, the minutes that you have to purchase with it. It costs about $26 or so to do it. Um, Thank you, Sarah. She says I need to turn up my mic. Hopefully that's better. Is that better?
That is a little
Um,
better, Eric.
okay, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Um, so Larry, LJ is a class act. He's old school, and the younger coaches could do well to take notes. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for that $4.99 super chat, Larry. Really do appreciate that. It helps us keep this show, keeps us running. Okay, Dylan and Dylan's dog. How you feeling tonight, my man?
Man, I walk into my apartment. All right, I walk in the living room, and my dog's watching this show. And I don't know if he's a closet Ohio State fan. So if he is, if anyone wants a 10-year-old golden doodle, hit me up. He's now up for adoption.
Let me tell you, he's instantly got more credibility than you do, Dylan. We got love for that dog, and I'm not even an animal person. Let me tell you.
Dylan, your tweet of your mobile podcasting platform is what I'm going to call it has got me thinking that the next show you guys run might be the most entertaining Boiler Express podcast ever.
Well,
I could see you starting in one room. You head off to the kitchen, make yourself a sandwich. Everybody's watching you make a sandwich, and then the beer sets in. You got to go to the bathroom, and you don't see it, but you hear you taking a leak or something. Like, I think this might be the greatest Boiler Express podcast of all time.
It could be. Well, if they win tomorrow night, we're going live post game right after the show, and if Purdue wins, it'll be a great show. If they don't, yikes, it's going to be tough. So either way, it'll be entertaining for you all because you don't care about Purdue, so you're either going to see us very happy or down in the dumps to the nth degree. But by the way, while I'm here, happy 9th wedding anniversary to Mr. and Mrs. Boggs.
It's not our wedding anniversary.
Love Mrs. Boggs.
It's not our wedding anniversary, man.
Well, what?
It was 9 years ago today. We got our engagement pictures, is what that was.
Well, happy engagement picture anniversary. Did you tell me Mrs. Boggs has put up with you for almost 10 years?
Yeah. She loves me.
God love
Dylan, I'm a great dude, man. Like,
no, I know.
I'm all right, man. I learned a lot through that first marriage, let me tell you.
Hey.
And dude, he can barbecue. That's the other thing. He can barbecue. That goes a long way.
Oh,
so
that tailgate at the shoe next year when Purdue comes to town.
Hey, telling you what, I'll get to that in just a second. Let me answer this question. Hey, Matty Butcher, there is no FaceTime. It's all audio now. So that way you can call in from all over the world. And I'm pretty sure Australia will work because we took a phone call last week from the Philippines. So, yeah, just dial up that number that you see scrolling on the bottom of the screen, and we'll get you here in just a minute. D-Rock Irish, thank you, but it's not my anniversary. Everybody's confused. It's July.
I got the comments going.
July 4th. But hey, thanks. You all can start sending me super chats for my anniversary if you like. I'm down the clown.
Your anniversary's on July 4th?
Yes.
That's awesome. My birthday's on the 8th, so we're pretty close.
Dude, my birthday's on the 5th.
Look at us, just patriotic as all hell.
When I was younger, my parents would tell me that the fireworks were for my birthday, and I didn't know any different.
The town was putting the show on for Eric.
All for me, buddy. All for me. You got it. And Sarah confirms that I'm the best husband she's ever had.
I believe it.
Okay, so Dylan, let me tell you something. You said we're not Purdue fans. I've got some skin in this game, and I picked Purdue to win this thing.
That's true. You have been rooting for Purdue all March Madness and a little bit of the regular season. So I'll give you that. Chris gets no credit when it comes to rooting for Purdue.
Hey, well, I will say this. I'm rooting for Purdue tonight, Dylan, or tomorrow night rather, because I do have a little bit of skin in the game myself. I got a little 4-team parlay going.
Ooh, a 4-team parlay?
How dare you?
Does it start tonight?
Yeah, but yes.
Who you got?
You're gonna make me look it up, Eric. I got to get over the draft. Get over my.
So Dylan,
I wasn't paying attention when I did this.
Technology.
Dylan, let me ask you this question because I know this is an Ohio State podcast, and and you're a Purdue fan that loves us, and we love you. So I'm gonna ask you a Purdue question. Zach Edey is getting a ton of hate online about
Yeah.
how that he's only good because he's tall.
Yeah.
Can I be honest? I don't think these people know
Go ahead.
basketball, man. Like,
They don't.
if
They
I
don't.
was a basketball
They,
coach, now I will admit I'm old school. Okay, that's the key here. I'm an old school guy. But if I'm building a basketball team, the first guy I look if there's not a tremendous A1 point guard, you go center.
yeah.
I know the game has changed to more of a outside shooting athletic game where everybody can shoot threes, but Edey's a problem for people, and they don't know how to guard him because no one plays the inside outside game that Purdue's playing, which is literally what everybody played in the early 90s.
Yeah.
It's so old school.
All,
I
it's
love
all
it.
these young whippersnappers, man.
I love it. So every time I hear someone complain about Zach Edey, I just laugh because I'm thinking, you don't, you don't know ball. You don't. This is how it used to be. Remember the days of
Yeah.
San Antonio when they had two of those guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
now they
yeah.
got Wembanyama.
Robinson and
You're gonna see more of it.
Duncan, yeah.
Robinson, the Twin Towers, Robinson and Duncan. Now imagine Purdue if they had two 7 foot plus guys.
Well, we do, but Zach's so good, we don't need him.
Well, I'm just saying, don't be surprised if at some point in, probably too late now. I was going to say in the season, but if Painter don't go to a two man, two big guy set, has he done that at all this year?
No. The other one's Will Burke. He's a freshman. He hasn't seen the court much unless it's garbage time. But he'll be one of the centerpieces next year for sure. But yeah, the Edey hate is ridiculous. People say he's good just because he's tall. They say Purdue's not a fun team to watch because we're not hitting Steph Curry threes and half court, whatever's. We're rocking the paint, right? And we're in there. But Edey's one of the best. And you look at Edey by halftime. Take a look at Edey's arms.
Oh yeah.
His arms are scratched and bruised and banged. This kid takes a beating every single game. And the fact people don't appreciate that. Then again, nobody hates bad players unless they're bad for your team. But everyone hates the best player in the country, one of the best of all time, when they're not on their team. So I don't get it. If Edey played for anybody else, I'd appreciate it. Is it the type of basketball the generation of now likes with the Steph Curry threes and the wild nonsense? Which, in my opinion, I don't like that style of game. I'm a little old school myself. I grew up with my dad, who was a basketball coach, and was point to point. He wouldn't let me practice threes until I was in high school.
Right.
So it just, it is what it is. But it really shows people's knowledge of the game when they say Edey isn't good, because it just goes to show they don't know a dang thing.
Well, and when defenses have to then collapse on Edey in the paint, it opens up the outside. And as Hummus Hero pointed out, didn't Purdue score over 100 points their last game? Yeah, they couldn't miss from 3-point range. So what happens is
we got Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, and we got great points. The starting five is all around. We've had the same. Thank God, we've had the same starting five all year long. So Edey is our centerpiece, sure, but we got a lot of firepower behind the 3-point line, and sometimes they struggle. There's been a few games where they're pulled beyond the arc, but you'll have that in any team. So there's plenty of firepower beyond the big maple, as we call them.
Painter seems irritable in his press conferences lately. What's going on with that, man? Like
he's getting so fed up.
He's like he's not smiling at all. He's hating every question. Is he feeling the pressure maybe a little bit, or is he just so super focused that he's like, I'm just gonna Thanos this thing and hate the world, and it's us against the world type of mentality?
I think Paint understands that this is the best shot he's had for a national championship. And I think he understands, and I think Zach does too. And I think really the whole team does, especially after last year, losing to a 16 seed. They all understand that this is one of the best teams they'll ever be on. And they've all said this on senior day. I think each one was like, "This is the best team I've ever been on, the best time I've had in a season ever." So I think Payne understands that this is his best opportunity to win it all, to at least make a Final Four. Knock on wood. And so I think he's also tired of people hating on Zach Edey. In a few press conferences ago, he brought up how people say Purdue wouldn't be good without Zach Edey. And I'll quote him. He said, "No shit. Of course you won't be as good as when you don't have your best player." That's such an obvious bonehead take for somebody to say. But Payne understands. Payne's one of the, and I'm biased, of course, but Payne's one of the best coaches in the country. In my opinion, he's even underrated. I think he's beloved in a lot of circles, especially in the Big Ten coaching circle. I've never heard anybody say anything cross about him. I've been lucky enough to talk to him once or twice at football games and other events, and just a real great guy. And he's a guy you want to root for. But yeah, I think Payne understands that this is his best opportunity and the best opportunity Purdue's had in a long time to win a national title. And he wants, as much as we all do, is to not give those bums in Bloomington the chance to say they're banners. We want our banner, and granted, we have one on the moon. People forget that we do have a banner on the moon. We're the only ones that can say that, but we want one in Mackey Arena, and I think Payne understands that it's better now than never. Really.
One more question for you, Dylan. Not only has Painter seemed irritable this postseason, but following their second win on the weekend, Zach Edey said to the reporter, "We're not happy with a Sweet 16. Like we're here to do more than that. We want more than that." And then on contrary to that, you look at Illinois, who had decided to celebrate with a squirt gun fight in the locker room following.
Let me tell you, I tweeted that, and Illinois fans were not happy. They were not thrilled, and that tweet was sarcasm, really it was, but it's true. You look at a team like Purdue, and they were so upset in every sense of the word last year in March Madness. This year they're like it's the ring or nothing. And so when you get a team like Illinois, who I don't think had made a Sweet 16 in I don't know how long, they're in the locker room with water guns, and to Purdue it was just of course we were going to win that game. We weren't going to walk out of that arena with a loss. And I think that's my biggest takeaway from this tournament so far is Purdue, especially Edey, is he refuses to walk out of arena in a Purdue uniform with a loss. He never wants to do that again, and hopefully he doesn't. I've never seen a more determined Purdue team, coaching staff from top to bottom. These guys, God forbid they lose, it's going to kill them. And especially with it being Zach's last year, he's going to go to the NBA next year. But yeah, it's when you look at the difference of programs, and it's not even a slight against Illinois. I'm not a fun hater. I enjoy fun. If you watch our podcast, I tend to have a little too much fun, but it's an experience thing. And these guys are as determined as ever to finally get that damn Final Four because we want it.
Is it a tournament? Is it a tournament, or is it a tourney?
Tournament? Sometimes I do both. I'll drop a tournament or I'll say tournament. I don't know where tournament came from. Maybe it's my Dayton accent. I don't know, but
I was just curious what the Coons say there in Southwest Ohio.
We're German as all hell, so I don't know what that may be a little German coming out. Who knows?
All right, let's talk about this tailgate when Purdue comes to Columbus. This is going to be big. This could be huge because it'll be the second year that the Chris Wiles Memorial Trophy will be on the line. and we need to pull out all the stops. So what I'm thinking is you all need to come up, but not only that, like Chris, I think we might need to have an official first time ever the Ohio podcast tailgate at the shoe during the season. What do you think?
I love it. I love it.
Like
I'm up for it every. I'm up for
Billy
it every
Bob
game
better
this
fly
year.
up for that.
I think maybe we need to like go all in, and the Boggs travel trailer needs to roll in that weekend.
Oh,
Yeah. So we'll have the tents up, we'll have TVs connected to some generators, like the whole shebang,
Ooh.
man. What do you think, Dylan?
That's a big deal. It's like the Super Bowl. My God, I love it. Billy Bob better fly up for that.
Yes, that's it. Billy
Maybe
Bob was on here a minute ago. I don't know if he went to bed or not, but maybe we can get Billy Bob coming that weekend. He is retired now. Larry Daniels might be able to just roll that big rig, slowly make his way back up to Ohio this summer. And then before he heads south, the weekend of the Purdue, he rolls up right beside the Boggs trailer with the Palacious Larry Daniels RV experience, and we just have ourselves a time.
No,
So-
I hope
so
the whole
Dylan-
crew can make it. I know our guy Chris, our director of law enforcement and everything law, his wife had twins today. So,
Oh,
he's gonna be a little
were they born
preoccupied.
today?
Oh yeah, they're all good.
on Eric's anniversary?
It's,
Oh yeah, look at that. The anniversary I kind of made up.
everybody.
Oh,
shit.
okay, Dylan. I got before you end up departing for us. I gotta give you my picks and see what you think. All right, because you're a Purdue guy, which means you got to be a basketball guy because y'all don't know nothing about football. So
Oh wow, all right.
okay, so I was actually wrong. It wasn't a 4-team I did. It was a 5-team I did.
Oh, jeez.
So I had Illinois and North Carolina tonight, and then tomorrow night I have Purdue, Marquette, and Houston.
Are you picking just winners, or are you going against the spread?
Just winners.
Okay. I think
So
it's possible.
what do you
I
think?
think it's pretty solid.
And I'll tell you, I got 50 on it. It's going to pay out 353.27 if it hits.
Ooh, that'll go towards
So-
the tailgate fund.
That'll go towards more merchandise for our online store.
Chris, turn your mic
Oh,
down
there you go.
slightly. Sarah's giving me updates. She said,
Ooh, there you go. The tailgate could be brought to you by the Ohio State store and lots more.
it's gonna be the OHL podcast, baby. That's what it's gonna be.
Brought
That's
to you.
right.
Yeah, but you got the Ohio State podcast brought to you by, kind of like they do with the bowl games now, where it's the Geico Sugar Bowl brought to you by Allstate and State Farm, the Jake guy, and it's
No, this
just
is
have
like
four or
the
5 different sponsors for one bowl.
this is like the Seinfeld thing. Don't you know you never let your personal life and your work life intertwine? You ever see that episode of Seinfeld with George where he didn't want his friends and his work people and his relationship people all to communicate? That's kind of what it is.
Billy Bob, it's November 9th. Saturday, November
Be there,
9th.
Billy Bob. Take the Billy Bob backyard private jet, and get up here.
It's gonna be wild. Let's see.
It's gonna be Chris Wildman. Wild.
Larry Daniels said he's going to be up north in the Buckeye State June 28th through July 27th. He's staying over in Mount Gilead State Park July 1st through the 14th. That's not too far
Well,
from your place there, Chris.
No, that's only about 15 to 20 minutes away from me.
Yeah. So there you have it. So Larry's probably going to be somewhere south already by then. But just in case, we thought we would invite. Dylan, good luck tomorrow night. I'll be watching. Chris will be watching with interests as well, betting interest. And for at least one night, these Buckeyes are going to be saying boiler up.
Oh,
I still
there
won't
we
say
go.
that.
I got a boiler up. Chris, can I get a boiler up out of you?
Come
No.
on, Chris. You can do it.
I can't do it.
Come on.
I can't do it.
It's not like I'm asking you to say go blue.
You know what?
Has
It's a
anyone
good
ever
thing
said that
Eric.
on this
It's a
podcast?
good thing Eric's got the button right now and not me.
All right, boys. Yeah, say a prayer for your Boiler Express boys tomorrow night. They're gonna put us through the ringer, and we're gonna be an emotional bunch either way. So
I'll tell you what, Dylan, if they win tomorrow night, I'm going to go ahead and put some money down on them to win the Natty for you.
putting your money where your mouth is. I like it.
That's right.
No matter what happens in the first half, remember what I told you. Relax. This Purdue team is built for 40 minutes, not 20.
Amen.
Remember that.
Amen.
Have a good one, Dylan. Thanks for calling in, brother.
Good seeing you guys. Have a good one.
Bye. So Billy Bob says he'll have to check it out. So he's gonna get that plane fueled up and ready for that flight to Ohio, possibly for the tailgate with the Boiler Express boys. Yeah, we'll see if we can't find ourselves that we can buy some tailgate passes somewhere, and just have a great time. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, if the old Boggs Express is going to be there, it could be a really great time. Someplace to pass out.
Right? We've seen that a
And,
few
and our
times.
Purdue friends may
Too.
need that after the whooping they're going to get. So,
Ooh, ouch, ouch. Maybe it's definitely a possibility. Last year at Purdue, they were thinking they had a shot because it was at Purdue, and by the end of the first quarter,
every Purdue fan was having shots.
Big Mac Mary was ready to exit stage left and give us more room there on at her season seats. Dylan, how far did Dylan make it to halftime last year? I think
he made it all the way to halftime, man. We were all out. But there was that one Purdue fan, man. There was that one just stuck it out till the end.
that yeah
The
over
one
in the
in
student
the
section.
student section.
Sarah says that's a
No
negative. No
passing out
passing
the
out in the
camper.
camper. That's her baby, buddy. That's her baby. That was the first big purchase that this guy gave her, other than her ring, was that camper. She wanted that one bad. Billy Bob, a place to sleep. That's enticing.
Sarah, you might not want to come to this tailgate because it sounds like everybody's planning to hang out in your camper.
So, Chris, let me ask you this question.
Yes, sir.
What would you? Okay, let's make believe Ohio State's going into the Sweet 16.
Yes.
Would you rather them act like Illinois did, or like Purdue?
No, I would rather. I mean, I understand the excitement, but at the same time, I feel like there's something to be said for having the focus and acting like you've been there before. Whether you have been or not, I love the focus and the intensity that Purdue's bringing. They are bringing a quiet confidence, whereas Illinois is acting like a team that is just happy to be there. And you know what? If you're just happy to be there, I don't feel you can truly put your best foot forward towards advancing. I would rather handle it like Purdue's handling their business. And they got a little bit of an edge about them. That's the other thing. They got a little bit of a chip that's going to start forming, like you said, especially Matt Painter's had himself a little chip going here lately. He's tired of hearing the crap.
Yeah. Coconut Dreams in the house tonight. Good to see you, Coconut.
How we doing?
Glad to have you. Let me say this though. A team that acts like Illinois did, I think tends to play a little more loose than a team that acts like Purdue did. They seem to maybe play a little bit
Well,
more
they're playing on house money, Eric. That's the whole concept. They're playing on house. They've gotten as far as they've expected to get for all intensive purposes. They're playing on house money. What they've done is had an accomplished season by team standards at this point. Whereas Purdue is holding themselves, I can't believe I'm going to say this about Purdue. Purdue is holding themselves to a level of excellence.
A higher standard.
A much higher standard. Because that is what their basketball program is used to.
Correct. All right.
I kind of look at that, if you look at that the way that our football team handles itself. We hold our football team to a higher standard. Yeah, the fans may be acting the way that the Illinois people were acting because we're not, it's been so long since we've had that out of our basketball team. But I love the way that, well, some of our coaches obviously didn't act that way last year as they were out partying their country concert at the bowl game. But, I mean, I feel like the fact that you hold yourself to a higher standard, I don't think that just making it is good enough for you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's a lot.
Two of those
I,
four
I'm
coaches.
all about expectations on yourself. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't play loose. I'm not saying you shouldn't have fun. But what I'm saying is Purdue acts like there's still a job to be done, and Illinois does not.
Do you remember if Tony Alford was a part of that group or not that went? I can't
I
remember.
don't believe he was.
Okay. I was
I
gonna
know
say,
I know Corey Dennis. He may have been though. Corey Dennis was part of it.
yeah, Fry and
Fry, and
Ryan
then
Hartline.
yes. I'm trying to remember. Was Parker Fleming part of that too?
I'm trying to figure out how many of them got fired in my head. I'm just going back and thinking about that.
Yeah.
Maybe only one. Ohio State football this upcoming year is going to, I feel, be in a similar seat that Purdue is right now.
Yes.
In that there's high expectations. Last year felt like a letdown. Everybody came back. Some of them you weren't expecting to come back, but they did. It's pretty much the same team, minus the quarterback. Purdue basketball is very similar, and I wonder going into next year's college football playoff if we will see Ohio State act a lot like what Purdue basketball is right now. Irritable. We're here to do something more than this. You know,
Well, Eric, these guys have all come back with that little bit of the chip. They've all come back and said, "We have a job to finish.
yeah,
We have not done what we came here to do." There is an intensity about them already before the season has even started.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what we're going to see out of them come playoff time.
Phone lines are open, guys. Feel free to call in 567-483-1999. We do have time for another phone call or two. 567-483-1999. I'd love to talk to one of you tonight.
1, 2, 20, however many we can get in.
Chris is ready to stay up all night.
Hey, I'm off the next 4. I'm good.
All right, so I'm gonna present this. I'm gonna do a video on this. I think I'm gonna title the video "Bama Trolls Bama."
Bama trolls Bama.
Yeah. So there have been rumors that Caleb
Caleb.
Downs is going to leave after spring ball and go back to Alabama. Right on cue, the same exact rumor for Quinshon Judkins.
Quinshon. Oh, Mama Junkins put that to bed real fast, didn't she?
And then Will Howard, the same rumor, going to go back to K-State.
Yeah.
All three. From what I can tell, the rumor started on an Alabama message board and has been ran with by a YouTuber who is a college football guy who's very popular. I won't name him. He's an Alabama fan. And he said he believes that Bama offered Downs more NIL than Ohio State did to come back. And that is why Downs on his Instagram started following all the Alabama guys again. And then Ohio State came back and said, "We'll give you $150,000 more to make the video where he says go Bucks," or "I'm happy to be here. I'd rather be at no other place," when he gets his black stripe removed. None of this can be confirmed. Then Buckeye Scoop, I think, made a tweet kind of mocking them.
Yeah.
With a number that he had thrown out on his original video. And I'm going to be making a video about all of this because what ended up happening is after this started, the Bama fans started to believe it.
Well, they got Caden Proctor back, and then they got excited after that.
Correct. Here's the thing. These guys aren't going anywhere.
Can I say this just real quick, Eric? And I need to talk to the Alabama fans here. I need you to make a little self-realization. Nick Saban is gone. Your dynasty is over. It's done. It is dead. It is buried. Stop dreaming that these guys are coming back because it is just not happening. You had a great run. 2 decades of absolute greatness. No one can take that away. No one can deny it. Let's face it. You were 85 yards through the heart of the South from probably another title. But the fact is, just like then, the Buckeyes have beaten you again. So get used to the fact it's over. Buried. No more Bama Dynasty. SEC greatness. Done. You better all hang your hats on Georgia. That's all you got left, fellas.
Alabama's not done. I don't think that they're going to be nearly what they were under Nick Saban, but I do think they take a step back, but that step back is more on the same level playing field as everybody else now, is what I think.
I'm going to go out here and say it right now, Eric. I say they're a decade away from their next national title.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting. 614, welcome to the OHIO podcast. Who are we talking to?
Hey, fellas, how are we?
What's going on, Matty Butcher?
Hey, no, not much, mate. Just at a local Easter celebration here. So it's Easter Friday, in Australia. So just watching the kids do the jumping castles and horse rides and all that kind of stuff. So I thought I'd give 5 minutes to you guys and see how you're traveling.
Hey, thank you so much for calling in, Matty.
Not out there riding the horse yourself, Matt?
No, there's a weight restriction on that.
Remind me, Chris, to tell everybody my horse riding story here after we get done talking to Matt.
Oh,
Matty,
my.
I got to know what this new job is that you got, man. I'm so excited for you, brother.
Yeah, mate. So the new job is just over here we have like sports clubs and leagues clubs. So they're not like a nightclub or anything. Just like it's something that was worked on with the old ex-servicemen from the wars, and that they come over when they returned from war. They started all these clubs. So I'm taking over as manager of one of the local sporting clubs in town to try and revive it, try and bring back the people, the guests, and all that kind of thing. It's only a little neighbourhood club, so I've always wanted to open up a sports bar and never had the money. So now it's I'm getting paid to run a sports bar.
Very good. So I have an idea for you that can revive this thing. All right, you ready to hear this?
Yep.
Does it involve putting us on every night, Eric?
So I think what you need to do is you need to show Ohio State games number one. Get
100%.
Get everybody excited about the Buckeyes over there. And then number two, let them all know that the OHIO podcast is the number one podcast in Australia for the Ohio State. And just make sure that they all get to watch us on their TV screens you got. What do you think, brother? This will get people coming in, I think.
And make sure to push that new punter for us.
I'll be definitely do it.
So we got a new Australian punter, man. Did you see this?
Yeah, I did. It was a 75, 85-yard punt.
Yeah.
90, what at 90? I thought
they said it was like, yeah. I'm pulling it up right now, the article, because this is just incredible. This guy
was out of the stadium.
He kicked it out of the stadium, Butcher. Like,
yeah.
I'm pulling up what his name is here for you. Nick McLarty.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, I've never heard of him, but whenever I get a notification on an Australian news site for NFL or college, it pops up on my phone. So when I seen it, I just looked at it, and this kid there, yeah, there's kids out here in the country that can like just put up these big booming kicks like that just for fun.
Yeah.
But because we're so far from the big cities, like we're say 7 hours from Sydney, it's a lot of time and effort for these kids to get noticed. So yeah, no, that's the average thing down here, man.
He's 6'7", 255 pounds. Is that what you guys call a big bloke?
He's a defensive end.
Yeah, yeah, that's a huge fella or a big bloke. Yeah.
6'7", 255, and he's a
Right.
punter. Good Lord,
Yep.
Matt. What do you guys eat
That's-
down there, man? Vegemite sandwiches?
Oh, kangaroo. Yeah, Vegemite sandwiches and kangaroo.
I love it, brother.
Hey, I've got a little story for you.
Okay.
Talking about OHIO. So this morning when I was getting Archie dressed, I gave him two options. I gave him a New York Giants jersey or Ohio State. I go Buckeyes, Dad. And he's wearing his Buckeyes jersey all around town today.
What number is the jersey?
Where is he? Where's he going? 15.
Zeke and Eric Boggs. That was my number, 15. And it was
That's a
also
young
Zeke.
man. That's a young
Zeke
man whose
Elliott.
parents are raising him right there.
This is great,
Yeah,
man.
so I try and if I can find something on eBay, it's the only can't really pick numbers or anything, so I'll just go up. If I find it on eBay, he's got it.
So, if we got time, man, I know you. We're gonna make this a quick phone call. Tell everybody what your favorite part of the trip to Ohio was.
Oh man, definitely hanging with you guys and experiencing my first ever, not just university game, but Buckeyes game. Like I tell everyone over here, they ask about the trip, they see the photos, and they always say, "Oh, you went to Yankee Stadium, you went to Giant Stadium." Hang on, darling. And I say, "Yep, that was awesome." Ticked off my bucket list, but I said the experience from the moment I got into Columbus, Ohio, to the day we left, I said I'd go across purely just for a college game. And the way you guys showed me and Grant around, and even the people around, like when we were just waiting for the game to start and having a feed and meeting everyone, like just as soon as we started talking, everyone's like, "Why you guys come to a college game?" Hey, we're Buckeyes fans, baby. We travel far and wide, and I had to tick it off my bucket list. Yeah, no, like I said, I talk about it, I show photos, and just if I'm bored, I just show people. And it was brilliant. I said I'm hopefully I'm going to try and get to the game versus the team up north at the end of the year.
That would be awesome, Butcher. If you can come in, let us know. We'd love to catch up with you again, my brother. It's lifelong friends, and I tell you, at some point, the wife and I, we're gonna make our way to the land down under, and we're gonna come see you.
Yep.
That's on my bucket
Oh,
list now.
definitely, man. And even next year, when I was telling you about how the National Rugby League played in Vegas, there is rumours at the moment, Eric, that our team, the Parramatta Eels, which unfortunately have the same colours as the team up north, will be playing in Vegas. Won't be announced for about 2 or 3 weeks. But if you can get to Vegas and support the National Rugby League, you're on a winner.
There you go. There you go. Matty Butcher, thank you so much for calling in, my brother. Happy Easter. Thanks for taking the time to give us a call. I know it's Friday afternoon or Friday morning there in your neck of the woods, so I appreciate you.
Anytime, guys. And like I said, I appreciate what you did for me and Grant. Gave us an experience not many people on our side of the world can experience. And like I said, I always tell people to if you ever get to a game of football or NFL or college football, go to college. Way better. So I can't thank you and Chris enough for what you've provided for us. So, and I'm over here spreading the gospel of the Buckeyes.
There you go, brother. Thank you much, man. Have a good one. OH.
Hi-yo. See you, boys.
Take care. All right. I got to answer this question real fast before we move on. We got another phone call, Chris. Hummus Hero. How did he become a Buckeye fan? I actually know this. So Matt Butcher won a event over in Australia where he got to come over to LA to watch a sporting event. Trying to remember who it was. Was it the Kings? The LA Kings ice hockey?
I believe it was.
Something like that. And so he got to fly from Australia to Los Angeles for this game. It just so happened the hotel he was staying in was the hotel that the Ohio State Buckeyes were staying in when they were playing USC, or was it Washington? Washington
Washington in the Rose Bowl, wasn't
in
it?
the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And he has a conversation with a Buckeye fan. He goes, "This woman was dressed head to toe in Buckeye gear." And he goes, "What is this?" And she got to explain to him that what Ohio State was, that we were a university, we had a football team, they were playing Washington in the Rose Bowl, and he got very interested in it. And ever since then, Matt Butcher's become a Buckeye fan. He got hooked. He will literally get up at 2 a.m. his time to watch us, to watch the game live. And so he made a ultimate sports vacation for him and his good buddy Grant. And on their bucket list, they got to go to a New York Giants football game, a New York Yankees baseball game,
Didn't they go to a Dodgers game as well? I thought
maybe Dodgers,
because
maybe
they fly into Hawaii and then over to Los Angeles.
correct. They went to a Crew game, I think, or Columbus Clippers game.
Clippers.
But on there was an Ohio State game, and it was the night we played Toledo. It was a
Yeah.
primetime game against Toledo. We blew them out, right? But he came in, he flew in on a Friday night. I picked him up at the airport because he was listening to our podcast. At the time, we were just
Didn't you
audio
take him to a
only.
high school game that night too?
I took him to the Delaware High School game. In that game, they were playing Westerville North, which was coached by
Is that Stan Jackson's team?
Stanley Jackson. Stanley Jackson's boys were on the team. The game was amazing. It was a last second game, high scoring. It was like 50 something to 40 something in a high school game. And they were blown away. Because over there, they don't have high school teams, they have clubs.
Right.
So if you're going to play sports, you join a club. You don't play for your local high school team. They don't have sports at the high school. So to them, it was crazy to see the band and the cheerleaders and the atmosphere. And
Cheerleaders.
That's Grant that's another story. Here's these
Yeah.
two guys from Australia at a Delaware Pacers, and they called them the Dingoes. Yeah, we're over here watching the Delaware Dingoes. So every now and then, my wife will call Delaware the Dingoes, even though they're the Pacers. So,
Real quick, Eric, Brian Oberst had asked, didn't we have an Aussie punter before? Yeah, Jesse Mirko was from Australia as well.
yeah. So, that's right. So, and did you say Jesse Mirko?
I said Jesse Mirko, yeah.
Well, for that we had
Yeah.
plays for the Phillies, or was the punter at the Phillies? Shoot, gosh darn, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name already. Help me out, chat. Who am I thinking of? The first Aussie punter we had. All right, we got another phone call while they're getting ready to
All right.
take that in. 419, welcome to the
Hello.
OHIO podcast. Who we talking to?
This is Sean Schrock from Marblehead, Ohio.
What's going on, Sean? How you doing tonight, my man?
Good. How are you? I want to give a shout out to Coconut Dreams and my old friend, classmate Brian Oberst, who always watches.
Fantastic.
I just want to bring up how the Scum fans today were saying how Brian Hartline has lost his touch since Boggs decommitted.
Well,
I mean, do they realize that we got, all these other 5-stars that are going to play over a 4-star?
it's a good question, Sean. And this Boggs, I didn't decommit, that's for sure. I was a little heartbroken. I was a little heartbroken when he decommitted, because I'm like, man, I already got the jersey. I was so excited to have a Boggs who was going to be a Buckeye. He was going to be like my all-time favorite Buckeye already, just by the name. But no, so thank you, Hummus. It was Cameron Johnston. That's who we were thinking of.
Cam Johnston.
Thank you. And Brian Oberst says, "Hey, Sean." So he's listening to you. So, Sean, you bring up a good point. So here's the thing. I can't trust Florida high school kids.
No.
True.
It doesn't matter what position they are. If the kid plays high school football in Florida and he commits early, you can just about guarantee, no matter where he commits to, that kid is probably going to decommit or at least seriously consider decommitting. And I don't know what
Unless
it
his
is.
last name's Bosa.
I don't know what's in the water down there in Florida, but these kids have trouble with commitment. Like they just do. I mean, how many running
I
backs
mean,
have
look
we
at
had
J.J.
committed?
Smith. I mean, he took us right to the the wire right there. Poor Ryan Day almost had a heart attack on the stage there during signing day.
He did. That's right. Yeah, and he probably would have decommitted if the foundation wouldn't have stepped up and gave that guy the bag. Like, let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
I can't blame him though. He's once a lifetime talent.
Well,
So
and get used to it
thank God
because
they did it.
Absolutely.
it's not just going to be Florida moving forward. Because of the NIL, this is going to be a regular thing with all your top tier recruits. You're going to see commitments and decommitments like it's nobody's business just because the bag's always going to be offered from another guy. And it's going to go down to that last minute when somebody pays them, whoever the highest bidder is, So I don't think this is something that we're going to see exclusive to Florida anymore.
Well, unless it's that depends. And until it's regulated, you're going to have bidding wars. And if it's going to become a bidding war, Ohio State is one of the top 5 schools financially.
Hey, Wexner, time to open up the checkbook.
I'm not
You know?
just
I mean,
him.
if you look at what other kid's going to take them right down, I mean, they're going to leverage, each other against each school against each other to get the
Well,
most
sure.
that they can get. I mean, you really can't blame a kid. I mean,
I can't fault them for it. I've done that to
business,
employers
pisses
myself.
us all off,
Right. Sean, let me ask you this question. Do you think we opened the show with this tonight? Do you think Larry Johnson purposely or without realizing it, just based off of who he is as a person and how he answered the question, kind of took a shot at Tony Alford a little bit in his press conference? And if you're wondering what we're talking about, it's alluding to the article or the interview on Tuesday when he was asked about what he does when he's being negatively recruited because of his age, and he simply said it's about believing in principle, about who you are as a coach. I'm not chasing money. I'm not chasing anything. I'm chasing greatness with my players and a hope that they have a chance to be really special, and that's what's important to me. He said it's not in his DNA or his character to leave after he tells a kid he'll be there. Do you think he was taking a little bit of a shot at Tony Alford on purpose, or did it just kind of happen organically?
I think he took a shot at him.
Okay. Why is that?
And you know what I think's funny is Alabama sat there and told Edric Houston that Larry Johnson wasn't going to be there. And what happens after signing day? Saban leaves, and who's still there? Larry Johnson.
Right. Right.
You know?
It is ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look at how many of those coaches, negatively, say stuff about Larry Johnson that he's not going to be there, and they've been saying that for the last 6 years, and the guy's still there while all these other coaches are gone. Just
Right.
kind of, ironic, like you said.
Yeah, it really is. And so maybe he was taking a kind of taking a swipe a little bit there at Tony Alford, possibly. I tend to lean more to maybe it was just a little bit more organic, and that he really wasn't doing that. But Tony Alford next to Larry was the longest tenured coach as far as an assistant on that staff. Larry was the longest tenured than Tony Alford was until he left. So
Yep.
they had to have a relationship of some kind,
And who knows how good of a relationship they really had. They could have been at, odds with each other. And, when he left it's not the thing that he left where he went to and the timing of it, it was a big F you to Ryan Day,
Exactly. Yeah, it totally was.
He basically
Now,
took his talents to South Beach.
I would never compare Ann Arbor to South Beach, though.
No. What I'm saying though is he pulled a LeBron basically.
I know, yeah.
He had this big thing to kind of show up the team he was leaving.
Unfortunately, we don't have an Alfred jersey to burn, so that's not going to happen.
I
I
got
mean,
some
if he wanted to
photos,
leave,
maybe.
he had plenty of other opportunities to go. You know, he had other job offers. He could have went any other time, but this was a big fu to Ryan Day. It was personal.
You know the aggravating thing about it though is if Judkins would have happened to have gone back, had Mama Judkins not come out and put the kibosh on that, had he gone back, can you imagine how unbearable the scum fans would have been saying, "Ah ha ha! Look at what
Well,
we did. We stole your coach, and
they
your running
already
back ran
are
away."
because Bo Jackson up in Northeast Ohio, who was rumored to be Ohio State lean, came out and called Tony Alford the GOAT, and actually has already visited Ann Arbor.
Well, him and Marquise Davis were supposed to go up there and visit,
Hmm
so that kind of
They're not going to get both of them.
worries me.
They're not going to get both of them.
No, they might
I
get
mean,
one or the
honestly,
other.
I'd rather have Davis than Bo Jackson.
Would you?
Yeah, I would.
Who do you want to be the next running backs coach? If Ryan Day called you up tomorrow morning, Sean, and said, "Sean, I need your help. I need you to give me some advice on who you would like as running backs coach," what would you tell him?
I would tell him Gillespie out of Alabama if they could get him. I would say throw the money at him to see if you can get him up here because running backs coach is the second least important coach on the staff. But the thing about running backs coaches is they're so important when it comes to recruiting. So Gillespie can recruit. We know that. So I would double what he's making down in Alabama and get him up here.
What if that's not
If
an
that
option?
wouldn't happen, I would say Scotty Graham. I like Scotty Graham.
Okay. All right. What do you think of
But
Pepe
some are,
Pearson?
you know who? Sorry.
What do you think of Pepe Pearson?
I like Pepe. I wouldn't mind if they brought him in, but it's just, I mean, he does have he's got some coaching experience coaching with Eddie George down there, but we don't know if he can recruit at a high level. The thing about Scotty Graham is he always coached at a higher level with Jed Fish. And I know he has he's been an athletic director too, but I mean, he went back to coaching and he played in the NFL, so he's got the cachet and, he was a team captain. But if they can't get Scotty Graham, if Pearson wants to come up here, I would give him a shot since he really wants to be here. But you really need to get someone that can recruit.
Last question. What if it's Mike Hart?
Oh, oh man!
Every
I don't
time
know
we
if I
talk
could handle
about
that
this,
one, but
So you're like Chris. You're not
one
you're not a fan of that move, huh?
the thing that makes me laugh is I was watching a podcast and all those Michigan insiders were up there saying how great of a coach Mike Hart was, and they were putting down the coaching at Ohio State, saying that our running backs didn't have the vision and they were poorly coached. But yet a week later they get Tony Alford and they act like they won the damn lottery. Sorry about the language, but they're acting like they won the lottery. I'm just like, you guys were just saying how poorly coached our running backs are. Why would you want that guy up there to coach then?
That's the bought and paid for U of dumb media. Like
Yeah.
they literally are the mouthpiece for whatever talking narrative the athletic department spews out at them. That's one of the reasons why I believe you need to find fan-driven podcasts to listen to, because those are the ones where you're going to get the passionate. You might not get all the insights, but you're going to get passionate truth. You're not going to get people
Yep.
who are going to pull the wool over your eyes. John Kennedy, he spews as much venom towards his own team as just about anybody, because he's like, I'm not going to BS anybody. You don't find that with the podcasts for the scum up north. You just don't. They are all bought and paid for, it feels like. Like, I've yet to see one that's
Scam Web.
truthful.
and
I've yet
they
to,
wouldn't know the truth of it. They jumped up and kicked him in the crotch, Eric.
well, It's
The only one that I could say the Michigan scum, media guy that kind of talks off the cuff is Yoder, and that's because he's not doesn't have anything directly tied to the University of Michigan, so he can say what he wants.
Steve
And he's gone after Sam Webb quite a few times.
Steve Dace is
And
not bad on the Michigan podcast. Steve Dace, but he's not for everybody, and he became absolutely insufferable last year, and I couldn't listen to him anymore. But when they were bad, boy, he was banging on them. He was like the only one. Like,
oh yeah,
but yeah, no, I get it. So, what's your expectations? Since this is your first time calling, Sean, something we talked about a couple weeks ago. What is your expectations for this team this year? Is it natty or bust for you?
they could drop. I say natty, and they could drop a game during the year as long as it's not the Michigan. That's my expectation, but I honestly think they could go undefeated and win the natty.
All
That's
right.
my expectation.
So here comes the truth. Here comes the hard question then. If that happens, does Ryan Day make it past that? Do you think he's on the hot seat, and that's the game that matters?
I think if he lost to Michigan and still won the natty, they would keep him. But if he loses to Michigan and doesn't win the natty, I think he's on the edge there because there's no reason why this year they should lose to that team up there.
But do you think he gets to finish out the season if he loses to Michigan?
If they're in the playoffs, he will. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they're not in the playoffs, there's something seriously wrong, and he should be gone. Unless there was like something catastrophic happened where every quarterback broke their leg.
This team is going to be
But
way too good to not make the playoffs.
It better be.
This team could be the greatest Ohio State team we've ever seen. They have that much talent.
Yes, this is a generational defense. And I'm hearing, I don't know what you're hearing, Sean, but I'm hearing that the offensive line has got options. Like they've got guys like what I have heard is like Carson
Luke
Hinsman
Montgomery,
is playing like a man
Hinsman.
whose hair is on fire. He was like absolutely refusing to lose that center position.
Luke Montgomery's been
I'll
awful
tell you
tough
what's
from
going to
what I'm
help
hearing.
this. Sorry,
No,
Chris.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I think what's going to help this offensive line is Chip Kelly with his run scheme. You need more athletic guys to pin. I mean, they do that pin and pull quite a bit, run a lot of misdirections. I think the more athletic guys that we got, it's going to be better for them instead of just running straight on power. I mean, you got to run straight on power, but if you break down Chip Kelly's tape, he does a lot of pulling, a lot of traps, a lot of counters, and we have a lot of athletic guys up there. I think he's going to help this offensive line quite a bit.
I agree with you 100% actually. This is something I've been asking for a while. And I know, Sean, you might be a little bit newer to our show, but I said this years ago that Chip Kelly would make a great fit on this coaching staff. And I am so glad he's here. And when Bill O'Brien got hired, ask Chris, go back and watch the tapes. I wasn't happy. That was
None
not
of
the
us were
hire.
happy.
Well, that's not true. JR was pretty happy with that one.
Yeah, you're right. JR was pretty pleased, but
And you weren't thrilled, but you weren't.
I wasn't thrilled, but I was open to the idea just because it meant Ryan Day wouldn't be calling plays.
Early returns, what we're hearing from Chip Kelly is that it is working extremely well. Extremely
One
well.
thing I did like about the Bill O'Brien is he would have brought toughness, and he utilized the tight ends a lot. So I think our tight ends would have got a lot better under his play calling. But I'll take Chip Kelly any day over Bill O'Brien.
So,
Yeah,
so I have a
like the
question
Queen.
real quick
Basically,
here.
we got the best coordinator, and all of college we have the best coordinator.
I agree,
I mean,
100%.
who else would you rather have?
Me, nobody. I want to see this go. And not only do we have the
I wanna
best
see it
coordinator,
work.
I think we might have one of, if not the best defensive coordinator in college football as well.
Oh,
So
yeah.
at this point, Ryan Day needs to let these boys cook. You go raise money.
Yep.
You be the head coach. This is what we've been asking for. This is what you needed. This is what you talked about. Let these boys cook. Let them do their job. We've got the horses. Let's just get the freaking season started, right? Like, I mean, come on, let's roll. Let's do this.
Let me ask you guys a question right now. With our defense, the scheme that Knowles runs, do you think he handcuffs our defensive ends? Like they play more gap integrity instead of being turned loose to go after the quarterback? Because it seems like that's, he doesn't turn the defensive ends loose enough, just from what I watch.
Can I field this one first, Eric? So I think in the past that may have been some of the case, but I also feel like in the past we didn't have in the defensive backfield what we have now. I think we're going to see a little more fire out of those defensive ends because we've got guys in the defensive backfield right now that can cover one-on-one. We have guys, the safeties in position that can run the type of defense that Knowles wants. So to me, yeah, I do believe that in the past there may have been some handcuffing of the defense because that's what we needed to happen,
Gotcha.
given what we had. I think with the athletes, the players, the guys at the levels we've got now, I think Knowles has so many options that we're not going to know from one game, even maybe one series to the next, what we're going to see.
It's a great
You know what
question,
also is
Sean.
great
And
about this
go ahead.
is we have the chance of having the best recruiting class of 2025 too. So we have a chance to build a dynasty here. I mean, if you look at the guys he's bringing in that he's brought in last year, I mean, we have a chance to really build something special here for the next few years if everybody stays.
And
And it seems like
yeah,
Chip Kelly's happy being a coordinator now. He's not going to be he doesn't want to be a head coach anymore. So I honestly think, I mean, if you look at the quarterbacks, we got Sane coming up, and we got St. Clair.
Aaron Nolan's in that
It
mix
could
as
be a
well right
crazy
now.
run.
oh, don't open that box of worms on me, Chris. I agree with you, Sean. I think winning breeds winning.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
and if we were to happen to win a natty, what you will not see happen is what happened to the scum up north. You will not see everybody tuck tail and run. I think you will see everybody say, now we've got it rolling. Now we roll.
No,
So
you'll
I
see what
agree
you
with
see
you
at
completely.
Tuscaloosa.
I mean, what I say to all the scum fans, I said, how can you win a national championship and not have a top 5 recruiting class? I said, who does that happen to? Nobody. I mean,
Nobody.
Nobody got
you
it
had the
worse
best,
than they do.
you had the best player in 2025 class in your own backyard, and you couldn't get them to come there. So what does it say about your culture there? As a program culture, because they like to say the reason Alfred left was because our culture's so bad down here. I'm just like, are you guys smoking crack up there?
Yeah. No, it's they're trolling. That's what it is. They're just trolling. What comes around goes around, as the saying goes. But I want to go back real fast and answer what you were talking about with the defensive ends and the defensive scheme that Knowles implies. And one thing that we didn't talk about was the fact that when Knowles was in Oklahoma, at Oklahoma State, he didn't have the horses up front
Gotcha.
that we have. And so because of that, he had to scheme more with his defensive ends and get more creative with some of the positioning, the cowboy position or the stand-up defensive end slash linebacker hybrid position that they do a lot of talking about. And when he came to Ohio State, I think that there legitimately was some friction between himself and Larry Johnson on how to run that defensive line. And Larry wanted 4 down linemen. That is, everybody knows it. It's documented
Yep.
that Larry wanted 4. That's what I want. And the reason why he wanted 4 down linemen was because he feels like it gives his ability to recruit guys and develop them and then promise them more playing opportunities that way. And
That makes sense.
he used to rotate him more, and last year he rotated less, and he's talked a lot already this spring about developing more depth because we're going to need it and they're going to need to rotate more. You are going to see Caden Curry, Kenyatta Jackson, you're going to see those guys get in there. He also spent a solid minute gushing over Jason Moore, who he's kicked inside, and talked about his development alongside with
Hayden
Hero
McDonald.
Canoe. And then, he talked about Hamilton, how that he called him a sledgehammer, I think he was, a head knocker, I think is what he called him. So Larry is kind of has his mind made up on the scheme, and Knowles has had to maybe adapt a little bit to the fact that Larry says, no, this is what I've got, and this is what's going to help us win, and we need to play 4 down linemen. Now, what will be interesting is if they do this whole double eagle and they go with
Yeah.
5 down linemen and the defensive ends kick back at the linebacker position a little bit. That'll be interesting if they do that. They're not going to show it in the spring, and I don't think they're going to show it every single game, but when we go up against a Wisconsin or an Iowa, maybe not so much Wisconsin now that their teams changed, but a Minnesota or, a Nebraska, that's the kind of scheme that I think they might employ at some point during those games.
Because I like to see CJ and Sonny get some playing time together out, on each side. Because I think they're both, really, really athletic. And I know CJ's pretty good at rushing the passer. Even if you just put them in there to rush the passer, I mean, them guys need to be on the field.
Yeah.
Hopefully, CJ got in the doghouse because he wasn't following directions, and he likes to, just improvise out there. And if you don't listen to what Coach Knowles says, they said, you're going to sit on the bench. So hopefully he's able to pick up the defense this year. Because he's got way too much talent to be sitting on the bench.
Do not sleep on Gabe Powers.
Oh, I love that guy.
Don't sleep on Gabe Powers.
I think
they're talking about utilizing the young man.
Eric, do you think? I mean, I legitimately think we could see a rotation.
Yeah.
Well, they definitely need to rotate guys more because last year when you had Sawyer and JTT play every down against Notre Dame, I mean, them boys are going to be tired if you keep doing it that, Curry and Walker are going to have to step up this year, or Houston's going to pass them by in the rotation.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right, Sean. They need to develop more depth, which means they need to rotate more. You're playing more games this year. You could play upwards of 16 to 17 games now with the college football playoff. If you end up playing them all and playing in your conference championship game, which is definitely the expectation of this team. So given all of those factors, they do need to rotate more. There's no doubt about that. And at every position, I'm talking every position, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, you got to get these guys some experience so next year they're ready to roll when it's their turn to step up. I mean, especially during those blowouts. I know, like the last couple of years, you've been kind of playing for style points, but now you don't really need to do that anymore to get. You're going to make the playoffs. In the past, you had to had to get ranked by how many points you were scoring, and style points counted then. Now, not so much.
Exactly.
So I mean, even if it's Aaron Nolan or Julian Sain, whoever the backup is, they need to get them that young guy, one of those guys, a lot of playing time this year during blowouts. So next year, once their turn to play, they're ready to go and they don't take a step back. And I'd like them to do that with all the positions. So all those young guys, they get them reps in.
Exactly.
Well, and you never know if there's going to be an injury during the year either. So that way they're ready.
It's good points, my man. Anything else you want to talk about tonight, brother?
No, I appreciate it. I think I chatted with you last night on Scoop.
You did.
Was that you that I was chatting with? Them?
That was me.
Cool. I do watch your guys' show quite a bit. I just every once in a while I'll chime in and chat with Brian and stuff. But yeah, I love your guys' show. I appreciate what you do, and thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Sean. Great call. Call back anytime, brother.
Have a
So
good night,
Eric,
guys.
Good
Thanks.
night. Go Bucks.
Bye.
Eric, real quick before we check out, how about Will Howard being fourth already in the preseason Heisman betting? Have you seen that?
No.
The
Who's
first,
top three?
the first, it was, oh my goodness, I can't remember. I just remembered it. Will Howard was fourth. Hold on a second. Let me get that for you real quick. I had that.
While you do that, let me say real fast, everybody, make sure you check back. I'll be doing another video. I already hinted to it about Alabama, so that's going to be a lot of fun. That one's going to get a lot of hate in the comments. So if you want to have a lot of fun with Bama fans, check out after that video what they're commenting on, and we'll have some fun as Ohio State fans trolling them because they trolled themselves. So that'll be a lot of fun. We will be back Sunday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, with our normal show. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. Make sure you check that in. We'll have all kinds of great topics, and hopefully Aaron will be back. He is either going to be this week or next week, one of the two, hopefully. So we'll have Aaron back soon, hopefully. Check out the website,
Okay, I had that for you.
theohiopodcast.com, and on the website, go to the store. Chris is running the online store. We have Ohio State merchandise there, and all kinds of good stuff. And we've got some stuff coming your way with OHIO podcast things. Tumblers are ordered and should be on their way soon. Yes, Chris.
Okay, so we've got Quinn Ewers as the favorite, followed by Carson Beck, Dylan Gabriel, and Will Howard.
Carson
And
Beck.
Jalen Milroe barely behind.
Carson Beck.
Georgia.
Who's third? Dylan Gabriel.
The Oregon. Dylan Gabriel, the transfer from Oklahoma.
Makes sense.
And then Will Howard, barely over Jalen Milroe from Alabama.
All quarterbacks, huh?
Yeah, those are your top five right now.
No love for Travion Henderson.
And I think what that is you look at a split backfield situation and they're just assuming that the numbers aren't going to be there.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right, guys, be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carmen High with all your heart till next time. OH, we will be back. We'll do this again next week, Chris. OH.
IO.